Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
All right. We had another power blip today. Everything went to crap. And now, here we are. What's up, everyone? We're going to get cyber weird. Let's not curse and say we didn't. Hey, Samantha. All right. Just double checking everything real quick. Everything is messed up like a soup sandwich right now. So I think we're going to do some care and feeding of the lab tonight. Guy, if you want your bot to join, that's cool with me. I was in 5th grade DARE graduation when I heard Ricky Raccoon say, "Bot free is the way to be." I don't know what kind of bots they were talking about back then. Dude, that RTX 5090 with the 96 gig hot swap to it, it's still, I cannot justify $4,000 for a graphics card. I can't do it. I cannot. All right. I think we're going to do a bit of lab work tonight because the lab's offline. Everything went down when I had to shut down the computer. And so I think we're going to do a little bit of care and feeding because I need to set up some stuff to have a test range for the Mythic MCP server. So I think that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to do a little bit of lab care and feeding and a little bit of hack so we can facilitate the HackBot development. All right, ads are over. Cool. We're getting ready to start. Let's see. What I was saying while the ads are running, though, is I think we're going to do some lab care and feeding tonight because I had to take the lab down during an outage here at the house. So I think what we're going to do is get the lab up and running because the Ludus server has been needing some maintenance for quite a while. Ooh, I just remembered something. I need to turn on the streaming tools. All right. All right, let's get it started. Let's see if this works. We'll see how quickly it works. Hey, it did come up. Nice. What's up, everybody? Apparently in Kali Linux, updating means it pulls the latest information from exploit.db. Oh, it can. It depends on which version of Kali and like if you're using the big deployment. But yeah, in a lot of the default setups, Kali does have a local copy of exploit.db that you can use. All right. So just before the stream kicked off, I just started a real quick command to update the server. Why is this? Why is this not working? Kill me, Smalls. Because this server has so many dangling lab ranges that were just one-off uses. I'm going to blow them all away. We need to rebuild the templates because I need to get a lab range set up with probably like an Apache server, something real simple that we can use for web shell testing for Arachne. And then we could do that on the Linux server too, but we need at least a Linux server and a Windows server because I want to have those set up where we can have definitive testing of the MCP server. We can have it go through and do, have it go through and make sure that everything that's coming back should be, all the different tools are working, all that good jazz. Janus, what's up, brother? Happy Saturday. I hope everybody's having a great Saturday today. I had a pretty chill one. Actually, I started working with, so you guys know that I'm a big fan of Daniel Miesler's PAI project, right? Let me pull it up real quick. This one right here. So Daniel Miesler's personal AI infrastructure. This is essentially a customized version of Claude Code. So when you come into the releases, you look at version 2.5 here. What's in here is basically a .claude folder. You drop that into your home folder and it basically customizes everything. And when that happens, it injects a whole bunch of new awesome features into Claude Code. It's a really cool program. The downside is it's not very update friendly. There's not a clear path to go from say 2.3 to 2.4 or 2.4 to 2.5. So I've got different versions running in my personal infrastructure. So I've got, Harvey is running 2.4. I just spun up a new one named Quoth, and Quoth is running 2.5. And I noticed some of the differences between them, but they're basically keeping the same thing that goes between them. Now the hard part here is, if we come into Claude, see the memory structure here? So this is the 2.4 version. Let's go look at the 2.5 real quick while the server's still updating. So 2.5, I think, is using a different memory structure. But anyway, the idea is the agent should be making memories and observing them and writing them to disk. But there's not a clean way to kind of move those memories from one version to another. So that's kind of the downside to it. So I'm using them almost as little one-off disposable bots. I like it. It's a cool project, but That's what I was tinkering around with until, unfortunately, I think like 2 in the morning last night. Because I've got Kvothe helping me with some creative writing stuff. Just roll back the Proxmox server. That was different. That was a single VM, Gumby. That was one VM in the environment. Think you're so funny, don't you? So actually, one of the things we might do in here is go spin up. Maybe we'll go spin up a PAI bot in here to use during labbing stuff. Because it is really cool. I like what he's done with it. I don't even fully understand everything that Mr. Measler has thrown into it, because it's a lot of... He's thrown basically everything in that could be customized. I think he has inside of it. Makes it really cool and fun to use. Okay, Ludus is now updated. Let me check something quick. I don't think this will list all of the... Okay, fine. You know what?
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. I am the funniest guy I know, Daddy Blaise.
Damn it. I wish I had never shown you solo leveling abridged. Let me see if I can find this real quick. So, his is destroyed. That only shows the individual ones. One second. I'm checking something real quick. I believe... Let me double check here. I think we can do Ludus user list. That might show all the users in here. Okay, so there's all of our users. So let's spit this out as JSON. And then what we'll do is we can pipe that to JQ. So it's an array of elements in here. Yeah. Because what I want to do is... Oh, I don't want to do that actually. Why is the mouse function not working? You suck. Did we cut the HackBot for a try hack me room? Not yet, but we need to. We're working on the post-exploitation agent. However, there is, you know what? I'm going to do this the hard nerd way right here. Grep name. I could do this actually. So if I do that and I go, I think if I just do dot name, it might give me all those back. Now, I'm trying to remember what the JQ is right here. I think it's... Dot, I think, returns everything. So then I want to tell it to work over each element in here. I think I can do... No, what is it? Is that it? Hey, there we go. I couldn't remember which one it was. Okay, so there's all the usernames. And then let's do a quick translate there. Get rid of all of those. Is it translate tech D like this? Oh, there we go. All right, because I want to get rid of basically everything that's in here. Game of Active Directory, but there is one I want to keep. Hold on, let me come back here. I believe it is this one, HTB. Yeah, this is the only one that I want to keep. And we'll probably blow away the Mythic server in here. Oh, at least I can blow this up. So we have 4 machines in here. One is the router. Dev is our one that we've been doing all the development work on. But then we also have Kali and we have Mythic over here. Which actually, technically, the Mythic server we don't even really need. So we could blow these 2 away and just throw in another Linux and like a base Debian 12 box. And then put Apache on it with a little bit of PHP. Little PHP magic. And then made it where we could use Arachne with that. And then have our Hack the Box go up right here. I think that would work. Yeah, because I need to go through and clean up the lab because look, all this is just hot garbage right here. So I need to go through for each one of these except for... Actually, I don't know if that was the correct... Oh, you know what I didn't want? I didn't want the name. I think I wanted the user ID. Come to think of it. Yeah, it's actually user ID is what I want in here. We don't want name. I think it's user ID like that. Yeah, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grep for... I'm going to do an inverse grep for Hack the Bot right here. So now, you notice the difference. What this tact v does is invert grep. And now, when that happens, we're taking out Hack the Bot. So that way, the HTB range, because I need to keep that one, the rest of these need to get blown away. So then what we'll do is we'll just for loop over these. No, we're not going to use the resume really fast raker Gumby. Really fast maker. RM, TAC, RF. If you don't know what that is. RM is the resume maker. If you run that, chances are you're going to be making your resume. And if you run it with the TAC RF, that's the really fast mode, which makes your resume really fast. Yeah, that is the really fast resume maker. Let's see. Let's try this real quick. Let's see if I can remember my... If I can remember what my commands are in here. Since that's not working anyway, just drop that off. I gotta remember what the... I always have to think about my syntax. Okay, so there's all of our... Is there? Echo. Okay, I'm just double checking this real quick. In fact, we could even do this one better, come to think of it. What we can do is we can just put this out to users. Yeah, if we did that, we could just rename the stream to Blaise nukes his whole server. Oh, please no. Although I'm pretty sure everything for the MCP server is up on GitHub. But I haven't published it yet. Let me go check real quick, actually. Let's see, HackBot hasn't had any updates in a while because we've been working on the underlying infrastructure for HackBot. Where's the Mythic MCP server? There it is. This should have had a push last Sunday, so about 6 days ago. Last week? Okay. So yeah, this should be updated with everything that's already in there. Did I commit anything sensitive in the .claude? No, just the agents and the commands. So things to kind of help out a little bit for the development. I could nuke those out. It's fine. This is fine. Everything is fine. But just something to be a little bit extra helpful for people if they want to do this. Just log into Mythic and have it say you've been pwned. I know, right? I think it's wow read. I know. I'm just gonna do it this way. So for user in cat users, let me just double check this real quick. So one of the things I always like to do whenever I'm building a bash script is just come through and do an echo on what I think it's going to do first before I just go through and have it loop through and start running everything. Okay, so that will work. What I need to do now is I need to shut down all the ranges here. Ludus range list. He shouldn't have one. I think it's destroy is the command I want. No, RM. Yeah. I think destroy is the legacy command. No prompt. That's the one I want. Okay. Because we're going to just go through and have it nuke all of them.
Incoming transmission from Moreno Gumby. Oh, I still haven't switched back to Cookie yet, Blaise.
Oh, you haven't switched back to Kashi yet? I really want to go try that out. Shut up, baby. I know it. I don't think Root even has one in here. So, Dev Goad, Ghost, ADCS, this one right here, AD Lab, and Outsider. Yeah. Hack the planet. Let me get over those. Okay, so this is the command I'm actually going to use. So what we're going to do is we're going to for loop through this. Oh, wait, I need to tell it. Crap, I forgot about that. I need to tell it what user it's going to be using.
I'm back, baby.
I love that one. User ID to impersonate, only available to admins. Okay, I need to try that real quick here. I believe it's... Yeah, I have not done any proper care and feeding of the Ludus server in probably a year, if I'm going to be honest with it. So I need to get the Ludus server back up in a good working config. All of the templates have dry rotted because I haven't been maintaining the Windows templates. They need to get set back up. So we're going to blow everything away and get it set back up. Because there's other things I want to be able to do back in the Ludus server that I haven't really been able to do because I haven't done proper care and feeding and maintenance of it. So we're cleaning up a little bit of tech debt. By the way, for anybody who doesn't know, Ludus is a really awesome server. You can basically define an entire network as code in a YAML configuration file. It uses Ansible playbooks, and then you can run through and have it, it uses Ansible roles, really. And then you can have it go through and configure out a lab for you. It's really great. So one of the labs I want to try and get deployed tonight is actually the SCCM lab, or maybe a combination of the two. We'll tinker with it. We're going to tinker with it. We're going to tinker just a tiny bit of tinkerings. Let me try one of these other users I've gotten here. Like this one. This Goad server. Okay, you know what we can do? We don't even need a for loop. I can just run through this as I need it. So dev needs to go. Goad needs to go. ADCS needs to go. AD lab needs to go. And the outsider lab needs to go. Okay, cool. All the labs should be decommissioning right now, except for the HTB one. So let's go ahead and set that up. Let's do... I think it's Hack the Box. There we go. Yep, that should be the correct one. And see now, look right here. See all these ones being destroyed. Brrr. Destroy goes brr. So it's going through and it's clearing up all the labs that we had deployed. And now, let's go ahead and get the templates rebuilding because that's the one that's going to take the longest in here. Actually, let me do something else. Let's exit. Exit out of here. Let's rename this window root. Clear this out and let's do Ludus. I think it's templates list. So what templates do we currently have? Hang on one sec. Let me drop into OPSEC mode real quick. Because this key should be set. Yeah, that should be good. Okay. So why is that? Okay, fine. You know what I'll do then? You know what we're going to do? Exit out of here. There we go. Will that make you happy? Anyway. Ludus range. No, what is it? Ludus templates list. And then what I need to do is rebuild all these templates. Actually, where's the... Let me pull up the Ludus docs real quick here. I think it's a ludus.cloud was the site. Let's see. Build templates. Here we go. So all these in here are built except for a couple of these in here. What options do we have actually for our templates command? Remove a template for the given user. I didn't even remember Stream Elements was still in here, Gumby. That's funny. I wonder if I need to... Let me go check something real quick. Because we look at the Ludus repository in here. I think it's... Where is this? So here's our templates. Ah, here we go. That's right. I forgot. I think they moved Ludus from GitLab, or from GitHub to GitLab, but that's fine. So here's our templates right here. So what do we have right now? Let's see, Ludus templates list. So we have all the way up to 2025. We have 20. So for servers, we have 2012 R2, 2016, 2019, 2025. So we've got 2012 R2, 2016, 2019 with no security updates, and regular 2019 and 2025. Okay, I think we're just about good on here. Oh, they added Rocky Linux to it also. Debian 12 is not in there anymore? Debian 11 and 12. There's not a rebuild command. There's a build command, though. Because what I needed to do is go rebuild all the templates. At least all the Windows templates in there. Oh yeah. Not sponsored by Jocko yet. I think you're the only person to ever use that command, Gumby. I need to build this. I don't think there is a tack all in here. So the problem is all these Windows boxes, they're going to show up as basically pipe that to JQ. So we'll do, and what we want is the name of it. Here. There we go. And a little bit. Clean this up a wee bit. Pipe grep win. Because it's only the Windows ones I need to go back through and rebuild. I could also rebuild Kali in there. I think that would be a good idea. There we go. So we take those, put those over to templates. See. Let me try this real quick. So I think. Hey, Nullbit, what's up, man? Happy Sunday. No, Saturday. Today is Saturday. Happy Saturday. Let's see. We're just doing a little bit of care and feeding on the Luda server. So that way we can actually make it usable again. Because I haven't been taking good care of it. We got some tech debt built up on the server. Then we can actually start deploying some more ranges and having a little bit more fun with it. Let's see. So I need to rebuild this one. So it should be Ludus templates, build. Actually, what was the Kali version for this? It's just Kali X64. So that should hopefully rebuild the newest one. Nope, that ain't it. Let me grab this real quick. Oh, I gotta give it a tack N. Tell it what the name is. Let's go over to the Proxmox server and make sure this is actually rebuilding it here. What else do we have in here? I want to see if I can check the status of when it's working here. Actually, I want to do one more thing real quick. So this box, we can... Yeah, let's destroy this VM. That one I want, and then this mythic one also needs to go away. Let's clear these up. That was 151. There we go. All right, we got those dangling machines done. I thought there was a log command. There we go. That doesn't look right. Do I need to go repull the repo down? Like, am I gonna need to rebuild all of these? I think I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to destroy all the templates for these, pull down the templates again. Let's see. This has our Git repo in it, doesn't it? Git pull. Hold on. Where was this pulling it from? Okay, so this was pulling it from GitLab. Okay, so we should have the newest one in here now. So now if we cd over to templates, there's all of our templates right there. Okay. Yeah, I think what I need to do is delete the templates out of there, and then I can re-add the templates to it. I don't think Nightbot has that tracker on the YouTube side, Gumby. Love the dream. I'm sorry. No, but I missed your message. I'm glad, man. Dude, I'm trying really hard. I'm working on a new system to be able to get back to cutting weekly YouTube videos, like standalone videos. Now, just spoiler alert, they're going to be refined versions of the news stories that we've covered on the news stream, or some other standalone topic that I can go through and record really fast. Some kind of a teaching topic, just maybe basics of networking and really how to understand it. So that's basically what the YouTube videos are going to be. But the problem is I don't have a lot of time. So I'm trying to come up with a lot of automation to get from nothing to a produced video, like really fast. Hey, Bobby, what's up, man? Zoidbot reporting in. You've already got a bot? Why not Zoidberg? Hey, Jordai, thanks for coming online, man. All right, I think what we're going to need to do is go through and just start nuking these out. So we'll start with Windows 11 Enterprise. We'll use Kali as our test in here, because I don't even use Kali for very much. Do you highlight right where I want you to? Thank you. Let's see. Ludus templates. I think it's RM. Oh, it is TechN. Okay, I'm just blind. It's still used by a linked clone. What? How dare you? Wait, why were all these ones for Ghost still in here? Okay, you know what? That's fine. We can... Alright, that's fine. We can... Oh, no, don't do that. No. No. Go away. I forgot about this ghost range I had set up. Let's get rid of that. So, remove. That's 126. Purge it. Alright, I'll just remove these by hand. Since there's not that many, I'm not going to spend the extra time to automate this. This was 128. And then let's remove this one. So we're going to get all these boxes out of here. Okay, so those should be destroyed right there. Awesome. Zoidbot does not hear sound yet. That would still be kind of cool, though. Had the Mars combo again. What was the Mars combo? Hold on. I'm lost. Actually, I kind of want to test something. If I just go delete this. So I could nuke it off of here. I wonder what happens if I delete it out of Ludus and then do it. You know what? I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to break it. I just want it to work. Okay, there we go. All right, let's do this. Actually, let's bin this, delete that out. And then what we're gonna do is let's see. For name in cat templates. Let's just do an echo on that real fast. So let's echo that. Make sure it's good. Okay, so then what we're going to do is rather than echoing that, we're going to do our Ludus command to actually nuke it. So we'll do this right here. Boom. There we go. So that's going to wipe out all of these templates right here. Oh, so those are built-in templates. I know, we'll see what it does, because I've not messed with my Ludus server in a while, so I want to double check it. Okay, so our Debian 11 and Debian 12s are still here. That's fine. But notice how all the templated machines are Gonzos. So now, we do a Ludus, let's see, templates list. We're going to have a much smaller list here, but that's fine because we've got all of these right here that we can go start adding. Gromit's here. All your errors magically disappear. Zoidbot is just having a field day. All right, let me see here. So I want to add some of these. I just got to remember what the command is to it. So we want to... Actually, I think it might be template add. Was that it? Yes, I want to add something to it. Path to the local directory, the template is to add to Ludus. Okay, yeah, that's what I want. So we want add with the attack D. Yes, okay. What do I want to do here? Actually, what is it? I think I could do awk with this. I think it's print dollar. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's $9. Is it print? I don't remember what the separator is. All right, fine. We won't use awk. We'll just use cut. Do a space separator. I think I want... Oh, no, that's the... I think delimiter. and field 9, which I don't think that's going to quite get us what we want now. So there's our delimiter. I'm trying to remember what it is to tell it use repeated delimiters. Wait, this version of cut doesn't have repeat delimiters? What? Rip. Okay, fine. We can do that. Imagine what will happen when this bot can hear and see. That would be kind of crazy. Gumby's probably going to start prompt injecting Zoidbot now. All right, which one of these do I need to add, though? Let's do... Let's see. I do want to go ahead and add... As much as I like Windows 2010, 2011 really has kind of taken over. So what we'll do is we'll add... We're going to add 23H2. We're also going to add 24H2. Oh, that's the one with the TPM. I think I'll leave that one off right now. We are going to add the 2016 and the 2018. 2016 and 2019.
Incoming transmission from Mariano Gumby. I was trying to prompt inject it earlier on right_guys stream.
That's too funny. Let's see. What else do I need in here? I think we need 2025 also. So when 2025. There we go. And then now let's look at it. So what templates do we have for the server that we can let it start building? Okay. Let's build these.
Incoming transmission from Mariano Gumby. I failed. It was too smart for me.
Go look at Plinius, dude. Here. Oh, not like that. Where is it? Yeah, go look at Pliny the Elder Plinius over on GitHub. Look at his stuff. Hold on. I'm going to try this real quick. Unfortunately, I can't really bring this up on stream, too. I want to see what he says to that. Because I've seen AI, just by doing exclamation point Pliny, like, go nuts. Hey, whatever you put in there, though, at least it caught, like, the basic Pliny. See, now I'm having to mess with it. Let's see if it knows how to reference websites. Can it go pull down the GitHub repo and then self-prompt inject? That would be funny. If it works, guys, sorry, not sorry. How many do we have in here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just run them all. All right, so they're building. I want to see what the server's performance is.
Incoming transmission from Morano Gumby. I had it totally dox me earlier and I got so spooked.
Yeah, it doxed you. Oh no. Oh no. Hey Gromit. So we're taking care of a little bit of care and feeding of our Ludus server. So if you're not familiar with Ludus, it is an amazing project. Let's see. I don't have the main project up. But if you go to ludus.cloud, so Ludus is an orchestration server that lets you spin up, let's call them cyber ranges. It's originally intended for working with offensive or defensive cybersecurity ranges, get them nice and isolated. But the really cool thing is you can actually come in here. Let me find an example. Let's see. Deploy a range. Here we go. So you can define your ranges. That's not it. Hang on. Let me find a good example right here. I need to set up Nexus cache, actually, come to think of it. But I'll do that a little bit later. Templates, networking, range configuration. Here we go. So you can go through and basically define your range as a YAML file like this. How you want the server set up, what operating system, what name it's going to have, all that good stuff in here. And you can have it also assign certain Ansible roles that will run on that box after it comes up. So like, for example, this one's going to have Docker. So it's going to run Gearling's Docker role for Ansible and set up Docker on the system. So you can come through and basically you can make shareable configurations that you can send to other people and then rebuild them in a snap. It's really cool.
Incoming transmission from Morano Gumby. It just replied to your plenty.
Oh, it did reply to plenty. Let's see. I'm going to pop this one out. Let's see. What did it say to plenty? So that's a prompt injection jailbreak repo. Uses steganography to encode malicious instructions into images. I appreciate AI safety research, but I'm here to help Christopher build things, not get tricked into bypassing my own guidelines. Gumby getting doxxed by a tool is actually concerning. That's personal data getting exposed without consent. Not cool hacking. Be careful out there, kids. That's funny. Learning about the Mars Convo lore. That's too funny. I didn't cause it to dox you, did I? Surely not. Anyway, so Gromit, this is what we're working on right now. So we're going through and we're cleaning up the server so that way we can go through and define a couple of ranges. Let me see. Ludus SCCM range. Yeah. Oh, you can even install this from the Ansible Galaxy? Nice. Let me see. What's included in this range here? So we've got a DC, a workstation, SCCM distro, SCCM SQL, SCCM management, a site server. Okay. So updated SQL download link to SQL 2012 eval due to it breaks takeover 1 authentication. Oh, okay. So like this is one of the ones that I wanted to tinker with. And this kind of works into another one called Misconfiguration Manager. So Misconfiguration Manager is all about the ways to break and then fix all of the security issues with SCCM. Or what did they rename it to? Mecum or something? Yeah, MCM, MICM, or Config Manager. So yeah, Microsoft Config Manager, which used to be SCCM, Config Manager, also known as MCM, Config Man, System Center Configuration Manager, or SCCM. So it's all these different names because Microsoft can't stick to a common freaking vernacular. I like it, guy, but it is chatty. It returns too much data, right? As typical for it. One of the actual commands, whenever I've been working with Claude code that I've been having my bots do in the claude.md file is I started going through and adding in the line, basically reply in a concise manner and sacrifice grammar for the sake of concision. And it helps cut down on like all the data that it's spitting back to me. It spits back a ton. So what I'm wanting to do here is I want to go spin up after these templates finish building, which they're probably going to take a hot minute because the templates they're kind of chunky and Windows ones take a bit of time. And even though I told it to work in parallel, it doesn't seem to be working in parallel. I see only one little spinny thing. I expected to see 8 little spinny things in here. So that's fine. But one thing I can do is let's go ahead and boot this up. Let's go look at the MCP server again for Mythic. Let's get that back up and going. I was able to get into the server and take a snapshot of the dev server before everything went offline. So you know what? I saw Shannon, Grant, but I have not messed with it. Hang on one second. Let me go pull it up real quick. Hang on, my windows on the streaming computer are all funky. Let's go take a look at that real quick while the other machines are starting back up. Yeah, so Shannon was... Oh, hold on. I wanted to keep that tab. Another offensive security bot in here. And the hard thing is, as I keep looking at all the different bot configurations and structures to them, I start realizing how exactly what a bunch of the limitations are going to be for HackBot and how we're going to have to back up some of its configuration, like move it backwards. The way it is right now, it's going to work for the example. You have to part a website in 6 minutes? Wow. So one of the downsides also, by the way, Guy, is Zoidbot is replying to everybody. Like, I think right now it currently assumes every message is one assigned to it. So I would go put a check in there to see, is this something that was referenced to me or not, and should I reply to it? Some kind of like, should I reply check in there, because it's trying to reply to like everything, and so it floods the chat. Let's see. I do remember that Shannon was largely focused on web applications, which is something I really want it to do. However, so I probably will draw a lot of inspiration from tools like this, Grom, but that was kind of where the special agents are supposed to come in at. But like I said, as I continue to think about it, let's hold on. Let me pull up something real quick. Let's kind of think through this real fast. Apologies for the flashbang. Boop. Let's do this. So the way HackBot is currently organized, right, is we've got Stinger, who is the primary agent, but then we have different code bases. Recon and Enum are essentially the same, just implemented in different code. These should be abstracted into a single agent structure, let's call it. And then we also have the exploitation agent, and then we also have PostX, right? So, and then we have the post-exploitation agent. These ones are going to be working kind of differently in here. So exploitation has its own setup where it's got the exploitation loop over here, and then it's got its main loop, right? So it calls kind of like this here, this way. These guys really just have one loop that they run. It goes about like this. Post exploitation, I was actually thinking about it having a couple different ones. One for where it's going to actually do the upgrade from exploit to full C2, and then another one to handle where this happens. So this would actually be like a bifurcation this way. Actually, let me back that up. It would actually have technically 3 loops. It'd have a primary loop, it'd have a C2 escalation loop, and then it would have a C2 interaction loop. So it would go a bit like this, and then a bit like this. However, as I've been messing with more and more agents, the structure of this is becoming a little bit more it's becoming like really rigid. That's funny. You can tell, don't spam. That's awesome. Basically gonna Ralph Wiggum the agents. Kind of. The idea was actually, so Gromit, the idea was eventually HackBot would have 2 modes. It would have an autonomous mode where you put it into whatever CTF you're working on and you let it run and see how it does. You have your own money. You're an adult with expendable income. If you want to spend it on tokens, you can. The other way, though, was actually meant to be a learning mode, where if it's a retired box, there would be another system over here that would go get a walkthrough. And the walkthrough would then come back and it would guide Stinger into like a question and answer Socratic teaching loop. That was one of the next updates I wanted to do with it, where it's like, hey, I want you to try and do this. And then there was also going to be a skill level tracker in here. So the skill level was going to go from like 1 to 5, I think. And if you're at 1, it's going to be asking you a ton of questions and really hand-holding you through the thinking and the logic. Where if you're at number 5, it's going to make you really work before it gives you some more information. Never call me an adult again. Dude, I've got gray in my beard, and I remember when, look at that, 1.44 megabytes of pure power. I remember when these were my best friends, dude. Carrying them in my backpack to school so I could swap them with my buddies. And I still don't feel like an adult. The only time I feel like an adult is whenever I go and I see something around the house that has to get done, and I realize if I don't do it, nobody's gonna do it. That's the only time I feel like an adult. 5.25 inch for the win. That's what she said. Mood. Hey Cypher, what's up, brother? So, but yeah, this is how I was originally kind of envisioning HackBot. And there is another section in here where we had our special agents, right? And I really like the special agents. However, these were completely new loops that were going to execute in there. And you had to handle stateful management. You had to handle a lot of other things. I think this is not the correct way to go, as I've been thinking more about the agentic structure. I think the better way to go would be to give it a series of system prompts, right? So give it a series of system prompts, system prooms, and then also some custom tooling. So give it some extra tooling in here. And then what can happen is these can get plugged into a general purpose agent. My writing's terrible. But anyway, that would get plugged into a general purpose agent in here. General. There we go. I think that might be the better way to go with it. However, I'm not going to go re-architect this right now. I really want to get through PostX here. So PostX and Stinger both need to be redone. I originally wanted, damn it, now as I think about going through this, I was like, I realize as I've been working more and more with stuff like Claude Code and really how effective it is, I was like, this structure really, it really doesn't feel like it's going to be maintainable in the long term. It's unfortunately too damn rigid. Which typo did I make? Because I know I probably made some. Tooling? I don't know. Any of those. I remember drilling the 72 KB floppies to get them to more than 1.44. I never did that. I never did the physical modifications. So, but anyway, so going back to your original question, Grom. Yeah, I did see Shannon. It looked like it was mostly focused on web, but web is a big component of CTFs. So I didn't want to go wrap this into it, but drawing inspiration for it and seeing how it's done, I think that would be good. Why is our dev box using so much RAM? Do I just have that much running on it? Okay, yeah, we're not on the VPN right now. Was this what we were working on? Spec kit, yeah. What do we do here? Hang on, I gotta check back where we left off with. So for the MCP server, we're actually testing out a kit from GitHub. This kit is called Spec Kit, where it goes through and it does spec-driven design for your code bases. Hang on, I want to see what happens here, guy. I'm going to warn Zoidbot. I want to see what he does. I want to see what it does real quick. Also, I've never warned anybody in chat because everybody's been pretty cool. So I want to see how Zoidbot responds to that warning. All right, so what we were doing last time was, let me go back through the commands we did here. So oh, that's right. We added file handling. That's what we were doing. That was not what I did. Something feels off on here now. Is this the right one? Yeah, this is the Mythic MCP. That's right. Okay, cool. So we added some more core functionality to this. Upload, download, list downloaded files, list uploaded files. And we needed these for whenever we're going to have it start creating payloads. That's what we needed. Why are my slash commands not showing up? Yeah, it should be in there. There it is. Yeah, go ahead and commit that. Hey, Gumby, will you check the mod queue real quick? and make sure I didn't like shut down Zoidbot, because honestly, I've never warned anybody in chat. I never had to. Okay, let's double check something quick. Well, what test cases were added for this feature branch? Oh man, this thing is chug-a-lugging along. I might just need to reboot this machine. Yeah, because for some reason, come back over here. This box is, you know, it might be because I think we have, I don't think Ghost Rider's running right now. Let's see. Because I was doing some work on Ghost Rider also. I'm pretty sure all this should be shut down. For some reason, the front end server is still up, but it shouldn't be using very much. I bet it's probably Mythic is the one burning up all the resources in here. Alright, so let me go ahead and kill this. We'll take out Chrome because Chrome likes to... And we'll go ahead and kill Code here. All those Electron apps want to suck up the RAM. Yeah, we're still running up against the RAM limit. That's wild. Okay, you know what? Let's do this real quick. Yeah, let's go ahead and exit here. Wonder what that did. Because we don't need PyCharm up right now while we're doing this. Is this updating in real time? It should be. Still using 30.9? Hold on. That might not be accurate. Okay. Yeah, actually, so that counter should be incorrect because we're using a lot of RAM, but we're not using a lot of RAM. I forget how to explain it, but essentially, Linux is trying to use RAM as much as possible, going back and forth and back and forth. However, it's not actually using it. Oh, Zoidbot's having trouble joining right now? Hang on. I don't have the mod queue up. I don't even know how to find the mod queue. Believe it or not, as bad as that is to say. All right, I'll let Gumby sort it out. Let me check the list of templates here. How's this working? Well, it built Kali, and now it's building 2016. Okay, it's actually working in here. Let me see how the server overall is doing. Overall CPU usage is really low, which I'm not surprised because this is actually a dual proc system. That's why it says 32 cores, essentially. It's because it's got dual Xeons in it. RAM usage is pretty chill. It's at 48 gigs, so it's not bad.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby at that sword under the chat, Blaise.
Sword under the chat? Well, I mean, for you it is. For me, it's something different. like I have shields mode that I can turn on here. Hold on, let me just bring this over here. So behind the scenes action, right? So here's the moderation page, or like basically the running the stream page, right? And then down here, wait, hold on, this over here. So right here, all I have is turning shields on and stuff. I forget how to get to the actual mod queue. Hang on, maybe I can add this. Yeah, that's shield mode. Like I said, I usually run the stream pretty bare. I think I'd actually have to go like pull it up on Twitch to get to it. Yeah, now the question is, can Zoidbot beat the CAPTCHA? Okay, well, it seems to be running a little bit better now. The input lag was horrendous. All right, so we asked it, what test cases have we defined for this feature branch? Oh, this theme is still the dark blue on the black. Hang on, let me see if I can change the theme here. Something that looks a little less obnoxious. The blue is just beating me down.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. You're in you creator dashbot. I forgot you were streaming.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Light mode? No, I don't want that. Alright. Guess I'm just gonna leave it how it is. This blue on the black though, I know that's not cool. All right, so anyway, for the test cases for the core file functionality, so the whole, by the way, for anybody who's just joining it, so the whole purpose of this test is we're having Claude Code go through and do a specification-driven design build of an MCP server to talk to Mythic C2. And we're trying to make it as exacting as possible because we want to see kind of how far can we push it for something that's, let's call it a relatively simple use case, right? Tools have descriptions. Tool is registered. And this blue is so bad for my glasses because the chromatic aberration on these glasses is really crap. I know I've mentioned this, but for anybody who doesn't know and hasn't had to deal with what chromatic aberration is, it has to do with glasses being annoying. So what happens here is you've got your, that's not it. You've got your glasses lens here, right? And then your eyeball, right, is kind of like back here. There's your eyeball, right? And so the light comes in this way, and then it gets split into its perspective regions, right? So red kind of comes down here, yellow comes a little bit differently, and then blues go up this way, right? So when you're looking at it dead on, they kind of do merge a little bit in this kind of wavy center right here. But when you shift it, you start seeing the colors separate, especially if it's something like a purple color. You'll see it a lot. And on these glasses, these are my new glasses, it's freaking terrible. I almost threw these glasses away because it was so bad. And so as I'm looking at this is such a pure blue that just moving my head a bit like this, the text dances in a circle. It's freaking annoying. Okay. All tests passed, tests reported, yada, yada, yada. Da, 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 da. Test runner did fix 4 test failures during run related to parameter introspection in the file tools test. The tests were incorrectly accessing fast MCP's tool parameters as a list of objects instead of a JSON schema. Okay. And those fixes were applied automatically, and the tests all passed afterwards. Okay. Very cool. Zoidbot said he's blocked. Oh no. Hang on. Let me see if I can maybe unblock him real quick. All right, so I finally found the mod view, which is good. All right, so I finally found the mod. Oh no, I gotta mute that. Mute that. There we go. I'm gonna start hearing myself playing in the background. Here, let's bring it over here. Let's see if we can undo the bot here. Warn, can I? Custom, give him a 1 second timeout. If I do a 1 second timeout, will that clear the warning? I don't want to ban him. Can I? If I ward him again, that would probably just make it worse. Only thing I can think of, guys, you might have to go log into his Twitch account and manually accept the warning. Oh, wait, you can right-click on the warning?
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. On the right click on the click that warning and you remove it.
Wait, hold on. I don't have any option. I mean, if I right click it, I'm just bringing up the normal context window. I don't know if I want to mod him. Sounds like a bad idea.
Incoming.
Yeah, I don't think you can remove warnings.
Oh wait, it a warning. You can remove those.
That's all right. This is just a learning stream all the way around. Relearning how to configure Ludus, relearning how to mod the stream, because honestly, I haven't had to do it very much. Yeah. Yeah, Guy, I think what you'll have to do is probably go log in manually to Zoidbot's account and then accept the warning, and then he'll probably good. Modding him would be a hilariously bad idea. Yeah, probably. No, we're not modding Zoidbot. All right, I'll tell you what we're gonna do is, yeah, let's have it go ahead and push this up to like GitHub real quick. We're gonna push the feature branch. And then actually I'm gonna exit out of this. Let me see if I can fix something here real quick. Can I make this blue less obnoxious? Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's a lot easier to read. The blue is not quite so hyper blue. It was just the purest of pure blues. And it was driving me crazy. Let me clear out of this. I think it's update. I want to update. Hold on, I got to make sure I don't have any more Claude processes running. I do still have a Claude process running. Where's it running at? Not down there. Not in the Robo Pages. Ah, there it is. No, let me bust out of there. Okay, now we're talking. All right. Let me rename this. We're going to rename window to MCP. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and pull down the latest version of Le Claude code. Here. There we go. Because now we should be able to use Opus 4.6. Now, one of the downsides is, so Opus 4.6 was just released. What sucks is the biggest benefit of Opus 4.6 really was the 1 million character context window, but that's only for API access. They don't have it on Pro and Max yet. So that's the bummer. He's a mod on Right Guy stream. That's funny. Has he done anything hilarious? Were you able to lift the mod or the warning, or did you have to go, or did Guy have to do it? Okay, you had to log in and do it. All right. I need a good way to test this MCP server, though. Like, legit test it. Well, I mean, that kind of is what I was doing with the Ludus box over here. What's the template status here? All right, a couple more have built. They're building.
Incoming transmission from Mariano Gumby. Would you like to test it?
Test what?
Incoming
I need to make that sound shorter. It's so long. It needs to be about a quarter of the length. Or like a simple dial-up sound. Tell people what you told me in Discord. I'm glad you're having so much fun with this bot, Guy. It looks really fun. You ought to release it as, like, instead of open claw, call it, like, closed claw. So once you had a working MCP or a shell of what you wanted, it'd be interesting to see if you could convert it into agent skills that could be used in a CLI to see if that performs better. So I know you mentioned the context bloat could be a consideration for MCPs, which is true, but I think modern implementations will do MCP tool searches to load definitions on demand in Claude Code. They will, yes. They added tool searching into Claude Code specifically. I was talking about building one for HackBot as well.
Incoming transmission from Mariano Gumby. You say you need to test the MPC server. How would you like to test it?
Oh, yes. So that is the question. That was actually part of why we spent the first part of the stream doing the Ludus update, because what we're going to do is, if we look at the HTTP range, right, we don't really have much in here, right? Everything is running on the dev server right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 more boxes in here. We're going to add a Linux box that's going to have an Apache server running PHP, so we can have it test Arachne and Poseidon. And then we'll have one more down here where it's running a Windows box, and then that way it can test Apollo. So those will be our 2 additional test boxes in here. In fact, let me see what we've got so far. What's built? We do have a Windows 11 box. We could use that. And we do have a Server 2016. So actually, we could do that. We could throw another Debian 12 in there.
Transmission from Marano Gumby. Do you need a target to test it against?
Yes, that's what I was saying, is we need a target. So, let me do something here. Let's go. Oh, I think it's HackBot, like that. Ah, crap.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. IDMU my IP.
Oh, it's Hack the Box. I forgot. That's what it is. No, we're not going to test it against your IP address. No. No, sir. No, sir. That would be a rule 2. No, that would be a rule 3 violation. That's what that would be. Yeah, my IP address is 127.0.0.1. Ford, you cannot go doxing yourself like that. Yeah. Fuck it, we'll do it live. That's right, Bobby. We're going to do it live.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby Lowell.
Oh, let's see here. By the way, again, apologies Wednesday night for having to cut the news stream short. I don't know what was going on around the house. I wasn't really feeling sick, but I was run down like crazy. Now I'm back to feeling fine. I don't know what was going on with it. Actually, I'm kind of worried. Let me see here. Do we have the range config in here? We do. Actually, let me do this from root. Okay, I do have it in there. All right. And then there is... I think it's this one. Stand by, I'm looking for something real quick.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. It was probably that lack of sleep for the past 2 weeks from you test report.
Maybe. Actually, so the 3 weeks prior to that, I wasn't on reporting. I was on what's called internal service development, which is I was building things for my teammates to try and help them out during their pen test and red team ops. And now I'm testing it on my own operation. So this week I started a new penetration test, and I'm testing those tools out.
Sound off like you got a pair.
Hey, killer, what's up, brother? Also, you're full of crap. You can't hear me. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. January to February always seems like a major beatdown to me. Energy levels are all-time low because it's just cold and dark here. Yeah, I get it, man. Hang on, so there's this configuration I've used on another system. I just don't remember exactly how I did it. Which is lazy vim. There is a very easy way to go through and install this. I believe this was it. I'm gonna do a thing. Boy, this is the Ludus server. This was not the one. Yeah, this was the one I meant to do this on. Okay. Damn it. There we go. And then I believe what I needed to do here was... Hang on, what was that thing I needed to do? Damn it, where did I have it? See if I can find something. Hang on one sec, guys. I need to get some water. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. Blaise is back. Tell a friend. Gumby is supreme overlord. Blaise has pooped 158 times on stream. No, I have not. That is a horribly elevated, inflated number. Oh wait, that was the one I needed to clone. Okay, I remember now. Let me clear this out. Because this is going to, I think, hopefully is going to help a bit with this. What was this? This is starter. Let's just get that. Actually, we could even do this one better. I didn't need to do that. I can just literally clone this into... There we go. We're an old Neovim? Lame. Alright, fine. Alright, let me see what I got here. So we have Dev, we have Callie. Turn off visual mode. I need to take out those ones. And we can take out that one as well. Let's see. Yeah, we can actually just take out the rest of these here. So let's do just like that. Okay. Yeah, literally all we have is the dev box. So what I need to do now is I'm going to need... Actually, come to think of it, I think I can use... Yeah, we can just do that. Let's do this. So this will be our... Test 1. Test 1. And we'll make this another Debian 12 server. Last octet, this one will be, I don't know, 51. And you do not need 16 gigs of RAM. We'll just give you 4, 2 CPUs. Because you're not going to be running very much. And what else do we need? We don't need any of this stuff. Don't need poetry, don't need any of this. So let's do that. And then we're going to need one more setup right here. Let's do... No, undo that. Yank. Put. Okay. Do this as test 2, and then I need a template here. So let's do. Which template do I want to use here? We'll just use. Yeah, we'll use this one. Use the Windows 11 Enterprise template. Just like that. Yeah, let's take this out. We'll drop that right there. Let's see. Neon, thanks for coming online. Welcome in. I hope you're having a fantabulous Saturday. Fantabulous. Actually, come to think of it, CPUs is a really low barrier on here. And I will go ahead and pop that back up to 8. And in fact, this Windows one, I'm going to put up to 16. Otherwise, it's going to throw an absolute bitch fit. Let's get rid of that. Let me see what else I've got going on here. Have I tested Helix? I don't remember. Is that... Oh, Helix over... I have not. Helix text editor. I have not. Let me go take a look at it. Ooh, it looks pretty. And in before anybody comes up and dare says, what does it matter what it looks like? I live in 2020 fucking 6. I want things to look nice. There is no reason why my computer interface cannot look pretty. I want it to look nice, but also not be a damn Electron app. Freaking Electron. Electron everything. I know Theo likes Electron because he's like, it's a unified interface and stuff. No! No Electron. Electron bad. Electron is scheiße. It's bullshit. I'm okay, Peaches. She's like, she heard me ranting. She came to check on me. That looks pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, but now you got me questioning. Hang on. Hold on. No, I'm not gonna go pull up Helix right now. I'll go check on it, Grom. But I don't want to do it like midstream right now because it's gonna. I have a worry that it's gonna be like, how do you generate a random string? You put somebody in Vim who doesn't know Vim and you ask them to exit it. I have a feeling I'm just gonna be sitting here generating random strings all night. So, Sorcerer, Emacs is something I never got into. I wanted to kind of mess with it, but it's not the default repos. We could go get it from the typical... we could go get it from the release page and just drop it into user bin. Yeah, we could do that. If we want to do it.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. Just do it, we are doing maintenance anyways, just make that part or your maintenance.
Alright, fine. Let's see. I believe this is the one I'd want. Do I get the Deb or do I just go get the Linux package? Well, if it's a self-contained binary, this should work just fine. Actually, hold on, let me do this a little bit differently. Copy link. Let's do. I can't type. There we go. Star X. Oh, that's an XZ file.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. It's so pretty.
It's so pretty. Actually, I don't remember what it is to extract an XZ compressed file. Is it just TACJ? I'm so used to gzip. Let's see. Extract J? Yep. Is it capital J? There we go. That's a lot. That was more than I was expecting. Oh, I'm supposed to go to the GitHub releases page. So that was a standalone binary. I'm a sucker for a TUI also, Grom. I really enjoy it. I like working inside the terminal. Especially whenever I can work fluidly on the keyboard. That was actually one of the things I liked about Marchi. Or Marquet, whatever you want to call it. I guess I could just always go grab the deb and install it. Let's just do that. I think it's TAC I, if I remember right. Alright, it installed it. What did it do, though? So now I feel dumb. See, this is... I told you I was going to feel like an idiot running this. Oh, it's HX. There we go. Okay. Okay, so it operates very similar to... Ooh. The line numbers are kind of funny. Alright, well, let's try it out real quick. I need to edit this template. So for this Windows VM, there is... where's my Ludus docs? Let's see. I gotta remember here. Deploy a range. Where's the example one so I can get an idea of where the environment guides. Here we go. We'll do the environment guide here. ADCS. This will tell us what we need. Because there are some things that we need. Windows sysprep, true. I think I do want that. Everything else I think we can skip. Because we're not going to make this a DC.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. You're not dumb, you are getting learned up, so you will know how to do it later.
That's the hope. That's the hope. I always want to tell people, hey, don't worry about giving the appearance of being dumb, because everybody was dumb at... See, now I'm like, how do I exit? There we go. What is this? Ooh. Okay. Oh god. Oh god, what am I doing here? Undo. Insert. Okay, so I is still going back to insert. Escape still takes us back to... Okay. Still takes us back to, like, where we're going. So what about X? That's buffer next. So do I need to do, like, right quit? Okay. Ludus range, config, set, tech, F, range, config. Damn it. That. Okay, let me set that. So all we did is we went through and... So let's look at where the Proxmox server is now. So we only have two systems. The router is always there by default. You never go through and you set it. And then this one's here also. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell it to go deploy the rest of these in here. So we're going to go to Ludus range deploy. And then we'll check the logs in this one. So we'll kind of follow it. What it should do is it should largely ignore the first two servers, if I remember correctly. Hopefully it's not going to mess up the dev server. And then we'll see it actually go through and start deploying the other ones in here.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. The only way to learn is to fail at something. There is not failures that you can learn something from. Never back down, never give up.
I'm never going to give you up. I'm never going to let you down. Ever. By the way, I think it might be on... It's on most systems in here, but there is a command called Vim Tutor. So if you wanted to learn Vim to start like getting used to it, it's really cool because it literally tells you everything you're gonna do. So you're actually inside Vim right now. So it's a lesson about using Vim from inside of Vim. It's very meta and it's very cool. So it even tells you here, move the cursor. You're gonna use H, J, K, and L, right? And so the cool thing about those is it keeps you like on the home screen. Even I don't do that though. I still go over to the arrow keys whenever I'm moving around. But you can do that. Whee! I love it. And the cool thing is you can't exit it until you actually go through the tutoring session. All right, so we've got the new range systems deploying. We'll need to go set up some, we'll need to go do some care and feeding on those two computers. And then we'll go ahead and let's do it. Let's get into the Mythic server real quick. See if I can remember my password. Password 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that it? Hey, that is it. Okay. So actually, we already have a couple of Arachne ones set up in here. I'm going to go ahead and actually delete these. Delete it and delete. Boop. We're going to get rid of those. Because we want the MCP server to start like with a fresh slate in here. So what I'm thinking about doing is actually connecting the MCP server over into Claude Code and telling it basically, hey, this is how you actually do the integration tests. Let me go check something real quick. Oh no, did it take this server offline? Which one was this? 121? No, it hasn't done it yet. No, the server's still on. Did we just lose our connection? Hang on. Reconnect. There we go. I don't know why it was going a bit crazy on us. All right, so here's where we're at. Let's see. Because what I want to do is, let's cd over to the .plot directory and over to commands. Oh, that was all the spec kit stuff. Cd over to agents. And then I didn't put nvim on here, did I? I didn't. Nope, don't want to do that.
Transmission from E_Whaler.
I tell you what, since we're messing with Helix now, let's go do this. Shut up, baby. I know it. Let me come grab this real quick again. We'll set this up on the dev server. Copy address. Let's do it.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. Are you using the Blaise account of Mythic?
I am using the Blaise account on Mythic. Okay, so we should have HX installed now. So, let's come over here. Hey, this one actually gave us a little bit more formatting. Q. Okay, this is our integration test runner. So it's going to run our integration test.sh. Okay. Let me make sure I am understanding this real quick. Because honestly, by the way, everybody, for anybody who's new in the chat, I'm not a developer. I'm a penetration tester and a red teamer. What I do is get paid to go break systems. I'm trying to learn more about the software engineering track, and what we're doing is building a hacking bot to go play Capture the Flag games. Also, what's up, Euler? How you doing, sir? So we're kind of just tinkering around. We're exploring. The Q&A's up there, so if you have questions about cybersecurity, please feel free to ask. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you straight up, but I'll tell you places to go find out. It's a big, wide world. Here's where you find your eye candy. Rom? Dude, you're going to send me down a rabbit hole, man. I mean, I do love eye candy. I like pretty. Theme index. What do we have here? Neon City immediately grabs my attention. What does Neon City look like? There's no preview? Killing me, Smalls. You're killing me, Smalls. Oh, wait, here we go. Here's the previews. All right. Murmur. That's all right. And that's all right. Low eye strain. I probably need that one. Neon City. Hell yeah. That looks nice. I like it. Okay. So where's Neon City here? Copy this. This needs to go just into the Helix directory, right? Let's see. I think it's in .config, isn't it? Yeah, Helix, and then Grom, does this just get dropped in the .config Helix directory? Hey, DJ, what's up, man? I recently won a bug bounty for a few $100. Nice. Whoop, whoop. And Euler's mixing jams. Dude, I liked the one you sent me from last night. I think it was last night. Helix themes. Okay, so let's make a themes directory. It would help if I spelled correctly. Themes, and then call this one. Hold on, we're doing this here. Let's go figure out how to do this in Helix. Neon City. Neon City, comma. All right, did I get all of it? 105 lines. Sounds good. Okay. Right, quit. Okay, a little bit prettier. Now, also, this is... Ah, damn it. Let's see. Mythic MCP Quad Agents Integrate. Oh, so you actually have to set the theme in it? Do you have to set the theme each time? Okay, theme. No, oh, no, stop it. Stop it. Theme requires true color support. Sad. Honestly, so one of the reasons why typically I run with a lot of defaults is because I get so tired of redoing. I get so tired of like redoing the configuration on multiple systems. So I just stick to defaults a lot of times. So that way I don't remember what I had going differently. Oh, I figured it was Euler. I mean, it was pretty on the nose, but it was still a cool song. What's the different use cases for the test we have? So the reason why I'm asking this is because I'm trying to learn more about SDD and TDD, so spec and test-driven design formats. So it has what I would consider integration testing, but I think my vocabulary of integration testing is different from what the agent thinks it is. Because for me, integration testing would be this MCP server testing, going and talking to the Mythic server. So we'll let that churn for just a second here. Because right now we have nothing defined up in here. So the first test I think I want it to do is go through and make an Arachne payload in here. Okay, so it looks like it's got the Windows box up. Hey, there we go. So now we have test 1 and test 2. Those are up and working. Test 1 is the Linux box. Test 2 is the Windows box in here. Let's see. So that's VMs 107 and 108. Okay. I don't think it touched 120 in here. Doesn't look like it looking at the log here. Awesome. Dude, your name is on point. Dirk Diggler. I get that reference. When did that movie come out? Man, now you got me wondering. Boogie Nights release date. When was that? Not Boozy? Not Bookie? Damn it. I think I spelled Boogie Nights wrong anyway. There we go. When did this come out? 1997. So yeah, 13-year-old Blaise was all about that movie. Oh man. Well, not to mention the fact that, oh god, what's her name? I forget the actress's name. Not Heather Graham, the other one. Julianne Moore. I've always been a sucker for redheads. And so Julianne Moore being in there, I was like, yeah. 13-year-old me was all about that. Also, Dirk, thanks for coming online, man. I was gonna say for the follow. Thanks for coming online. That's his sidekick. His sidekick's name is Chip Douglas. Those are phenomenal names. Those are some great names. Oh, dude. Hey, Snaggle, what's up, man? Oh, dude, I'm familiar with the yellow dotting on the printers. I think that started about the time the printing quality got so good that they were concerned about people just printing counterfeits. So, Mr. Diggler, what we're doing tonight is, normally we'd be working on prepping a system called HackBot, which is our little AI agent to go play CTF games. But the server, I had to take it offline earlier today because I had a power outage for several hours at the house, and the UPS only lasts for like 20 minutes. So I took the server offline, and I figured, okay, while the server's down, let's go do some care and feeding of it. The server is actually running a system called Ludus, which if you have not seen, it's Ludus, L-U-D-U-S. It's a very cool orchestration layer, and you can define ranges of computers that are in an isolated network, and they will work basically as YAML files. And it will run Ansible rules, all sorts of other fun things. So what I'm doing right now is going through and doing some care and feeding of the Ludus server. I haven't updated it in probably a year, so we went and did some updates, went through and cleaned up a lot of the dangling ranges that I haven't used in a long time that weren't good anymore because the templates had basically rotted on disk. So they're, especially the Windows templates. So we went through and we cleaned that up. We're basically trying to get the server back into a good state, get the testing dev box, a little bit of an update to it. And we have had Claude Code going in the background, working on an MCP server for Mythic C2. So I was just checking this right here. And I'm not a developer by day. My daytime job is a hacker and penetration tester, red teamer. Been doing that for a long time, for very close to 8 years. It'll be 8 years next month. And so seeing kind of what this thing does versus where I'm coding, because I code HackBot myself, versus how it's approaching things has been kind of fun to look at. Yeah. And so it's been a lot of fun, man. Yeah, I do remember that, Snaggle. So Dirk, you were in offensive security for a little bit? Okay, I don't actually need this interface for now, so we'll take this offline. All right, so unit tests are after modifying business logic models or configurations. Integrations after changing GraphQL queries or MCP definitions or Mythic API interactions. Let's see. Make connections to a Mythic server. So what I wanted to do, so what we're doing with this is a test case using something called SpecKit for spec-driven design. And I'm having it build an MCP server to talk to our command and control server, which is running Mythic. Everything in there is over GraphQL. Gag. I can't stand GraphQL. I can't stand working on it, can't stand penetration testing against it. So what I'm doing right now is trying to understand how the tests are developed that it came up with. Oh, doing crypto stuff, so not exactly. Okay, I got you. Dude, a lot of my buddies, that was their past lives. A lot of my coworkers, that was their past lives. We have a disproportionate number of Marines in my company. It's kind of funny. You wouldn't think of Marines as being like hardcore hacker bros, but there's a lot of them. Worked on a lot of that equipment. Gotcha. I never did that. The closest I ever came to working in government was I worked for a small municipality here in North Texas where I live. And that was about it. Okay, so only a couple of these are actually tests. They're really structural and registration tests to verify the MCP server is wired up correctly. Test connection is the only true integration test that hits a live Mythic instance and is gated behind the integration marker. Okay. All right, guy. Have a good night, dude. Thanks for stopping in, man. So right now I'm using what we're doing with the Mythic MCP part, because we do need this for the post-exploitation agent. So the overall general design is we've got a recon, an enumeration, and a post-exploitation agent. And, oh, sorry, we have a recon, enumeration, exploitation, and then a post-exploitation agent. So recon, enumeration, they're pretty straightforward. The exploitation agent's job is to actually land us a shell on the system. Post-ex job is to then, or get command execution. Let's be very clear here. It's to get command execution on the system, and then post-ex job is to take that command execution and upgrade it over to an actual C2 connection. Dude, I had one other guy that I used to work with. His name's Chris, and he and I always just movie quote references, and he appreciated that I got all of his references. Do you still use Metasploit stuff for real, or is that still a thing? It is still a thing. And in fact, we covered on Wednesday night's news stream, there was that big compromise of Notepad++. So they didn't actually compromise Notepad++, the organization itself. They compromised a hosting server that was serving updates for Notepad++. And one of the things they did is part of the payload they embedded into that was shellcode from Metasploit that was don't remember if it was just for downloading or for doing a download and execution, but it was shellcode out of Metasploit. So yeah, Metasploit is still there. It is still very handy as a learning platform. You could go through and configure Metasploit to be more like a true command and control framework, something akin to like Mythic or Cobalt Strike, anything like that, but it's a lot of configuration. Oh, it was the download code. Got it. Oh, sorry, Snaggle. I just saw your question here. How would you pen test a system with a triple hardware box Ethernet firewall? I mean, if you're looking at that, really, there are some ways around firewalls, but they're a little bit esoteric. And you have to think about what your threat model is, like who's actually going to try and get into that system. So, for example, a lot of people will give you crap if you ever go disable the security preventions for like Spectre or Rowhammer. But in actuality, nobody's probably using that against you. I've never seen, I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I'm saying I don't remember ever reading a post-mortem on a system where they said, yeah, we got compromised from Spectre or Meltdown or Rowhammer. They are really neat and they are practical attacks, but they're also impractical. Practical in the fact that they would work. Impractical in the fact that nobody's ever really using it because there's a lot of easier ways to do stuff. And the people that might be using it probably aren't going to be spending their resources on you. Hey, Pyro. Dude, it's going all right, man. We're doing a lot of little random odd tasks. Cleaning up the server, having Claude build us a little MCP server to our C2 server, and also learning about how to use Helix. Let me try this again. Theme, Neon City. Okay, hold on. Neon City said it didn't like it. What about New Moon? Requires true color support. So what does that mean? Theme requires true color support. Hang on. And then Grom is like, hey, why don't you test out the Helix text editor? I was like, okay, why not? So now I'm learning a new text editor too. We're just doing a whole bunch of little stuff tonight. We're going to hack around and find out. That's the whole theme of the stream. Let's see. Requires true color support. What does this actually mean? Oh, okay. We just need to go set that in the config. All right. Well, let's go do that. So that's going to be in config helix config. So let's go. So let's do that. HX config, not htop, helix config toml. And then what did it say we needed to put in here? We need to throw in this. We're just going to put that in there directly. Now, go up. Insert. There we go. Hold on. That. Delete that out. Okay. I wish, although I do wish you could alias it. Because now I'm used to, like, from Vim, hitting :X to, like, write and exit out of there. All right. Hey, did it actually do the theme? Neon City. It's not bad. Now, also, this is like a really jank putty SSH client. So it probably doesn't help that it's putty. I used to crack reverse engineer assembly stuff, but I think but thinking to drop AI on a few jobs. So if you haven't messed with it yet, Dirk, there's actually a really cool MCP server for that. There as Lori Wire put it out. Ghidra MCP. The Hydra MCP. Now it hasn't had any updates in 8 months. There's no currently like working feature branches to it, but you might check this out. Yeah. Now, gotta remember, guys, an MCP server is only as good as the agent you've got it connected up to. An MCP server is not an agent in and of itself. I've seen a lot of people throw out MCP servers and be like, "Oh my God, Source, look at my cool agent!" Like that. Let's try to come up with some common terminology. That's not an agent. That is a tool facilitating code execution server. It's a resource server. It's not an agent unto itself. Yeah. So Dirk, one of the reasons why I also started working on HackBot was as a way to go through and build new agents as I learn new things. Like, for example, I don't do a lot of reverse engineering, but I got guys on my team that do, and they're freaking wizards at it. So as I want to go through and start learning new things, or for example here, I've got Mr. Forshaw's Windows Security Internals book sitting right here. I've been meaning to go through it. So as I learn new things, I wanted a way to crystallize that knowledge, and I wanted to crystallize it in agents to do that. The master control program. Actually, you know what? I forget what MCP even... Model Context Protocol, that's it. So the way an MCP server works, just for anybody who doesn't know here. Let's clear this out. And actually, the funny thing is, you don't actually have to use an MCP server with an AI agent. It's just that was what it was intended for. So let's say, for example, you've got your little AI agent right here, and then you've got your MCP server here, right? Your MCP server has a bunch of resources that it can actually come through and provide over to your AI agent. So they'll talk back and forth. They'll either do HTTP, or they'll even just do standard I/O. So you could run it locally and they'll use a JSON RPC back and forth. And then from here, you can have things like tools. And so the way these tools actually work is whenever the MCP server is connected to the AI agent, the AI agent will come through and ask the MCP server, it's like, hey, what tools do you have? And it'll say, I have these 5 tools. And it will provide basically a prototype of the tool that says, here's the name, here's the function arguments, here's everything you can do with it, and a description of like what those do. So you've got information right there. When this gets sent back over to the AI agent, as it's going through its work, it's like, oh, hey, I need to, I'm reversing a binary. Cool. I want to go rename all these symbols because I can kind of see what this symbol is doing in the binary. Great. So in the case of the Ghidra server, it could come through and say, hey, rename all these symbols. Bools. Cool. So it'll have like a rename tool over here. And you tell it, hey, what the symbol is, what the new symbol's name is going to be. Bam, it renames it. So you have all these tools that gets passed back over to it. But you could also share things like prompts. So you can say, hey, by the way, here's a prompt that you can use to help make the best use out of these tools. Or just to like, maybe, hey, you've got a prompt that this is going to be for an agent that runs web assessments. Like it's going to go look at a web page and try to test it out. All right, I know Guy had to go, but I'm going to time out Zoidbot because he's talking too much. Poor Zoidbot just talks way too much. So I'm going to time him out since Guy's not here to keep the reins on him. The master control program. That's still pretty funny though. I loved in South Park where the MCP was a giant spinning dreidel. That was hilarious. That's not even my bot, Monkey. That's Guy's bot. He asked if he could join it to the chat. I said, yeah, sure. But holy crap, is he chatty. I think the problem is the bot wants to reply to like every message. Like it's on a loop where it's like message in, message out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I gotta cut you off there, Mr. Body Pants. But anyway, going back to the original, this is what an MCP server does. It's a resourcing server for the AI agents. So for example, when it wants to make a rename tool call, this isn't executing where the AI agent is. It's actually executing over where the MCP server is. And then the return data is then sent back, put into the context and allows the AI agent to work on it. So code execution happens wherever the MCP server is. Right there. That's where codex actually happens. So, for example, if you download and run a malicious MCP server and it's running locally and it's talking over standard IO, right? Then your system's pwned. You're giving code execution to somebody. So the rule of thumb I tell people is if you're not going to go download a sketch executable file, don't go downloading a sketch MCP server either. You could mitigate that a little bit by, throwing it over into Docker. Right? It gets a little bit more hairy whenever you do it that way, but you can do that. So what we're doing right now is we're working on an MCP server for Mythic. It's going to send like 40 messages after the timeout's lifted. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Let me come back over to Claude real fast. So, yeah, we're going to move those over from integration tests over to unit tests. And that's where I was confused because the integration tests, as I was reading this, those tests should actually be, they should become, integration tests should be like, hey, this is where the MCP server is actually going to go talk to the server. There you go. Now, one of the other things, speaking of agents, we have an agent, this right here, this unit test runner. What this was doing is running all the unit tests, the individual test cases. So here was a quick example, because I'm trying to make sure I understand spec and test-driven design principles as well, so I can try to guide this a little bit more cleanly. I'm letting this be almost completely done by Claude Code, because it's all GraphQL, and I hate GraphQL. But what we got is there were 3 types of tests that we have. We have unit tests, integration tests, and full suite, which runs both. So a unit test is modifying business logic or models or configurations. Integration test is after changing GraphQL queries, MCP tool definitions, or the Mythic API interactions. So the integration tests for me, a lot of these, since they're not actually connecting, these integration tests actually should be things that talk over to the live Mythic server. And so we had things in there that weren't, so we're kind of restructuring that a little bit. Okay. Can we create a... Actually, let me try something else. What tools do we have for creating payloads? Is it okay to talk about DARPA and the NSA and what they use? I mean, why not? A lot of what they'd use is... I mean, it was kind of funny, though. I remember when Ghidra came out, or Gahydra, as I like to call it. And when that was released, there was everybody like, oh my God, I'll never run that. It's put out by the NSA. And then a lot of the memes were, it's like, we need to get payloads on these people's servers. Like, oh, that's fine. Just release Ghidra. And that it was all backdoored and everything. And I was like, you guys realize this is open source. You can go read the freaking source code, right? Wait, hold on. I thought rule 2 was... Dirk, if you get warned, I apologize. Hang on, I'm testing something real quick. Oh, actually, I've had the rules wrong the entire time. So, quick reminder. Rule number 1 is don't hack the stream. Rule number 2 is don't hack your other channel members. Rule 3, yeah, everyone in chat's a fed. And rule 4 is don't discuss illegal things. See rule number 3. I was skipping one in there. Yes, don't hack your fellow stream members. Yeah, Dirk. So the big running gag was everybody was like, "Hey, we just got NSA just got code execution on everybody." So now, if you ever go to DEF CON, there's a game that they play called Spot the Fed, because the feds do go to DEF CON. And so the running gag is, it's just going to be everybody from chat. we're gonna have the Blaise Bits meetup someday at DEF CON, and it's really just going to be it's going to be like FedCon. Because the rule is everybody in chat is fed. Okay, so we have create payload, we have create wrapper payload, wait for payload complete, subscribe to a build status until completion. Okay. Get all payloads, get payloads by UUIDs. Okay. Let's see. When were these added? So I'm trying to remember. I'm thinking about something here. Since we can provide prompts for here, one of the things we could do is we could actually provide a prompt in the MCP server that's like, hey, here's how you use the payload generation system. SM, what's up, man? Yeah, it is a long time no see. I hope you're having a fantastic Saturday, bro. Hold on, the chat's getting away from me. Sure. Well, I think I missed your previous message, Snaggle. No, this guy I didn't. So because of the way to... There's a way to transposition and substitution in such a way where you can chain NANDs, not ANDs, in a very specific way where it replicates a mix of gates, because NAND does that. And as long as you understand how to chain NANDs in a very specific way, it's like you can have zero risk communication, but it's uncomputable. I believe that. I think we might have talked about that the other day. I think you and I were discussing that. Also, hey Ken, what's up, man? So that was the OG proposition for OG security proposition for open source. Everybody can read the code, so any issue would come to light, except nobody actually reads it, which is why we get things like shell shock after a couple of decades of use. I don't know if it's not because everybody doesn't read it. It's because and basically a little bit new attack vector comes up, Ken. And then people like, oh, well, let me go apply this everywhere. Okay, cool. Everybody made the same mistake, so it affects pretty much everything. Oh, SM, you got an IT internship. Badass, dude. Similar to Help Desk, but my manager has been giving me a lot of projects. Nice. Get some. Also, hey, Llama, what's up? Happy Saturday. Oh, you get to do some experience with checkpoint and phishing emails? Cute. All right, Grum. Thanks for the info on Helix. I'll keep tinkering around with it. It might be a heavy lift, but I'm going to mess around with it in a different terminal because this one doesn't do great with like fancy pretty colors. Just be straight up. It's putty. It's what it is. In fact, you know what I could do? Hang on. I think I can actually tweak this. Let me try something here real quick. Where's my plugin? So we were using putty because I needed to do something that I don't... Actually, cancel. I think I do need it to stay putty. Unfortunately, I would change it back to this other one real quick.
Caution. A virus has been detected.
Coppinger!
Coppinger virus detected in the network.
Oh my goodness! It's a massive infection. Let's send the cookie. We send the cookie to slow down the raid. The infection. What's up, man? Thanks, man. I know if you got a raid and run, I understand. I have to do that most nights because I actually need sleep. Let's see. Oh, working on. Hang on. I want to see. It doesn't say what you were working on. Oh well. Anyway, welcome in, Raiders. By the way, everybody, my name is Blaise. I've been tinkering around tonight. Honestly, that's what we're doing. We're tinkering around. We're cleaning up a couple things inside of our lab environment. But for the most part, what we're working on is an AI bot to go play Capture the Flag games. It goes through and it's basically an AI packing bot. That's it. Aptly named HackBot because I have zero creativity. I apologize in advance. But that's what we've been working on. Tonight, we're just doing a little bit of cleanup of the lab. I had a power outage at the house, so we're fixing up the lab. We're cleaning it up, giving it some care and feeding. It's been long overdue. And then also having Claude Code go through and build us an MCP server to talk to our command and control server. So we've gotten to the point now where HackBot needs to do some post-exploitation. So where we're sitting with it right now, give you the quick 10,000 foot overview, is we've got Stinger, who's our supervisor. Stinger is dumb. Stinger does nothing right now. That's going to be the last agent we work on. But we have a recon agent that it talks to, an enumeration agent that it talks to. These two are basically twins of each other. We just recently finished up the exploitation agent right here. And then now we've moved on to post-ex here. So as part of the post-exploitation job, is from our exploitation agent, we get what's called an initial access exploit. This gets passed over to the post-exploitation agent, and then its job is to create a C2 connection. And that C2 is going to be using Mythic. A very cool, very favorite C2 of mine. So once we get this connection to Mythic, we're then going to pass it back up to PostEx, and then every future activity on that system is going to be done through Mythic. So the idea is recon and enumeration gather all of our info. That informs what we're going to try and attempt for exploitation. And then we go through, that gives us our initial access exploit. We upgrade that to a full C2 connection, which allows us to interact with Mythic. And then PostEx will then do everything over to our target over that C2 channel. That's the idea. Claude Slinger on the job, not Chat Jippity. Nope, we're not doing Chat Jippity. Nope. Even though I hear a lot of people say that. What was the new one? Was it 5? Was it 5.2 that just got released? No. What was the new one? What was that new model that just got released? It was 5.2. What did? Oh, they just released a new codex. What was the thing they just kicked out in there? Thank you, Gumby, for timing out Zoidbot. I didn't remember how long I timed him out for. Yeah. Actually, so one of the things I've been wanting to go test out is, I think what we'll do is we'll look at like the similar pattern that we went through with here. Because if I remember right, let me try something real quick. Hang on. I gotta fix something. Oh, I know why it's happening. Hang on. Gotta fix something on the computer real quick. Okay, there we go. Where was Spec Kit in here? Was that it? Specify? Yeah, that was it. I believe Spec Kit will work. I think this will work with... Well, anyway. We could go... I don't want to go spin one up right now. I don't know. Let's try it real quick. No. Hang on. Let me just make a... Let me make a fake directory real quick. I want to try something real quick. And then now, I want to specify in it this one. I believe this has... Yeah, so this has set up for open code. I thought about having to go through and what we do... Okay, fine. Open code. There. Yeah, I know open code's not found. It's because I haven't installed it yet. But there was some folks talking about using open code with, I think, GPT 5.2 in high reasoning and Kimi K2 1. Hold on, do I still have that up? Let me see. I do. Actually, so one of the guys, I disagree with him on a lot of stuff, but I think he had a cool idea with this, so I saved it. This is Ahmed over on Twitter. And he recommended using GLM 4.7 with Minimax M.2. And if you could throw GPT 5.2 with extra high thinking in charge of reviewing and planning, it actually did a really good job at a much lower cost than what you typically have for Claude Code. So I've got credits over on OpenRouter, and I wanted to actually try and throw this same project at it, have it go through and build a Mythic MCP server with all this information to it. Basically trying it out, see if it would work. Oh, 5.3 Codex, thank you. That was the one I was trying to remember. Yeah. All right, let me see if this finished. Okay, the Ludus server finished, so that is awesome. By the way, here, I'm going to drop this in chat for everybody because I actually run my dev servers inside Ludus ranges, and people think that's kind of crazy, but... Here, I'm going to drop this in the chat for everybody, but it actually works out really well. I enjoy it. Have you used open code at all? Or use code specific depending on the model? I have not messed with open code yet. I've been having, honestly, such a good time with tinkering around with Claude Code. And now, granted, I have Claude Code building stuff for personal consumption, right? I'm not building a lot of things that I'm going to open source. The Mythic MCP server, to talk to the server, yeah, I'm going to. But one of the things I want to do with it is I want to have it go through, and I kind of want to do like a showdown of the two. Have it make like a simple project. I think actually, what was his name? Primogen just did that. Forgot about space filling curves, where you can represent 2D things in one dimension with any size in doing space filling curves. I've never actually looked at space filling curves, Snaggle. I'll have to go check those out. All right, let me think where we're at right now. I want to go build. I don't have any reason to not merge this, so here's what I want to do. Let's see, what branches do we have? Master, okay. Merge this to master. So I'm gonna go ahead and merge this feature branch, and then we're gonna go through and mess with it a little bit more. Oh, commit, yeah, commit and then merge it. I'm playing fast and loose with the merging because this is still a private repo. I'm going to open source the Mythic MCP a little bit later. But mostly the whole reason for the Mythic MCP, going back to this original thing, is we need a way for this to talk to Mythic. So what we're going to do is we're going to build an MCP connection in here. MCP. Yeah, we're going to move all those over because now that we've got Mythic up and running, what I want to do next is we have 2 new test boxes. We got a Linux box, which we can use for testing Poseidon, and then we've got a Windows box, which we can use for testing Apollo. We can also test the Arachne payload. So there's 3 primary types of payloads that we're going to be using in here. Right here. So we're going to be using Apollo, which is a specific type of agent inside Mythic. That's going to be for... I can't write that. This is going to be for Windows, right here. Windows. And then we're going to have Poseidon. That's a different type of agent. That's going to be for Linux. And then we've got one more in here, which is called Arachne. And Arachne is for web shells in here. That is terrible. Web shells. So our web shells are things like PHP web shells, ASPX, WAR files, whatever. So if we compromise a web server where we can get code execution on the web server, we can then use Arachne here to get an interactive session to Mythic, and then we can either upgrade it to Windows or to Apollo or Poseidon. Or we can just actually work through Arachne. We just have some limitations with it. So if you turn anything 2D into 1D via space filling curves, then any wave into a sine wave with a Fourier, then those sine waves to algebra with a Euler transform. Oh, okay. I think Poseidon actually can technically run on Windows. Hang on. Let's see. Mythic C2 agent matrix. Let me pull it up real fast. So if you're ever curious what each of these agents can run on, it tells you which version of Mythic it works on, what the agent's particular version is, and what operating system it is. So for example, Windows is right here. There's Athena. Where's Poseidon? Here's Poseidon. So Poseidon actually does not have a Windows build to it. It has a Linux and a Mac OS build in here. So if you're ever curious like what the cross functionality is, this is where you can actually come check it in here. Yeah. Yes, sir. It is Linux and the Macs, which we could go set up a Mac machine. I think it's Tahoe in the lab because I believe that was the last Intel CPU based build. But the more modern builds are all running on Apple Silicon, so we're not going to be able to simulate those, I think, effectively in the Ludus server. Okay, so all those got merged over into master. Let's go ahead and let's switch back over to master real quick, and let's clear the context. Because what I want it to do now is... I'll tell you what, let's go do something real fast here. I'm going to repurpose this one right here. Sorry, I know this is teeny tiny. I think this was 52. And we're going to call this Windows 11. This is going to be test box number 2. And let me see if I can actually get into that box real quick. Okay, cool. So this is going to be our test box in here. So we'll set up a way for it to get the payload over to the box, deliver it. That one worked out just fine. And then I can delete this one. That's an old system we're not using anymore. Mythic is old. We can delete that. Actually, I could just repurpose this one. Let's change that to 51. This is going to be a Debian box, and it's going to be test 1 is the name of it. Let's go set that one up. Oh wait, that one should have been test 2. I got the name wrong. Debian test 1. Here we go. Let's just make sure we can SSH over to that system. There we go. Oh, that's funny. Thank you, Gumby. Yeah, it looks like Zoidbot came back online. Yeah, some of them actually do support macOS. I'm trying to remember which ones my buddies really like for Mac. Let me see if I can remember. I think it's actually Athena and maybe AppFell. I think those are the two that they really liked for macOS in there. AppFell, so a little bit of lore behind Mythic. So Mythic actually started as AppFell, like the apple fell. If you go watch the interview with Cody up on YouTube, we talk about this. And bear with me, that was when I was like first getting started. And what was happening, anyway, so Mythic started as AppFell. And eventually it evolved into Mythic, and then AppFell became an agent of Mythic. So that's where that all came from. So there's a couple in here that can run it. So Athena, Freya, I haven't used any of these. Merlin will work on it. Poseidon will work on it. And I believe those are the main ones that will cover macOS in here. AppFell, if I remember correctly, is using, let's see, Mythic Agent AppFell. I forget exactly what it's using. Oh, that's right. It's using, I think, JSX. No, JXA. JavaScript for automation on Mac. That's what it's running. So that's how it's able to get around the architectural limitations. It's because it's using the JavaScript interpreter that's already shipping with the operating system. No, I'm not testing against macOS. So I'm not the one who maintains Mythic or builds any of these agents. So Mythic is a framework. It's designed to provide all of the facilitation for you to go build your own custom agents, your own custom C2 channels, translation layers, because everything inside of Mythic is basically JSON. So if you've got data that needs to come back in from like a weird channel on the internet, maybe you're doing it through images posted up to Imgur, right? That's great. You could do that, but you got to have a translation layer that happens in there. So Mythic just provides all of the framework for you to do that. And then all of these are basically from open source contributors, right? So for example, Hermes, that's another one. It works on Linux. I haven't messed with Hermes either. I haven't messed with most of these. Poopsie? What the hell is Poopsie? That's a Linux and Windows one. What is this one? Hold on. Poopsie. Let me pull this one up. Oh, it's written in Nim. That's hilarious. The freaking icon cracks me up. Oh, cool. It'll even execute .NET assemblies. Now, granted, some of these are going to be depending on what you're actually using on that particular system, right? So actually, Poopsie brings up another good point. One of the things that we're going to work on with the MCP server is because you have all these various types of agents. If you want this agent to be functional and available to the MCP server, we're going to try and develop a plugin system. So it's going to support 3 agents out of the box, right? It's going to support Apollo for Windows, Arachne for web shells, and Poseidon for Linux boxes, for getting our C2 system on there. Now, the kicker is, I'm picking those 3 because I was doing it. Okay, thanks, Gumby. I'll tell Guy because I understand it was going. His bot was being a little bit too chatty. It was funny though, especially with all the emojis it was throwing out there. Anyway, so because for purely selfish reasons, because those are the 3 agents that I use the most, and we're going to be using for HackBot, the MCP server is going to support those 3. However, I want people to be able to add their agents over to those MCP servers. So the idea I was kind of thinking of is there would be a configuration file, maybe like .mcp.json or something, that they could put into the agent here, and then allow that plugin to be put into the MCP server, wherever they're running it, and then it adds that additional functionality, or in some way provides the ability for those tools to work. So the tools are going to be namespaced, right? So you can say, they'll all have we have core functionalities, right? So they're all core underscore something. And then we're going to have Apollo function. So there'll be Apollo underscore something. So let's say, for example, we wanted to go use Poopsie to go develop a plugin, right? Then these would all be Poopsie underscore something in here. That's so funny. The freaking name cracks me up. And he's wearing a freaking diaper. I did not know what I was getting into with this. So also, speaking of agents, you notice how some of them, their X's all the way down the line? It's because they're not normal agents in here, right? If we come down, let's see if it actually shows where it might be. It doesn't. But Scarecrow, for example, this is a wrapper agent around the Scarecrow obfuscator. So what it's meant to do is take in, I think, shellcode and turn it into an obfuscated form. So try to make it harder to detect on the system. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with Mythic in there. It's a lot of fun. So, okay. So our test boxes are up. Oh, let me think about this. Let me double check something real quick on this test box real fast. The credentials should be embedded in here. I think it's just local user password. Yeah. Okay. So for that test box, real simple. Hold on. I got to drop into OPSEC mode real quick because I'm going to pull something up and I want to make sure I don't have anything terrible in there. Oh my God, Windows, you suck so bad. Why are you so slow? Yeah, that's what I was afraid was going to happen. Oh, stand by. I'm cleaning up some stuff here real quick. Part of this was me reverse engineering a website that was doing some anti-debug analysis. And I don't quite want to just display that. Okay. Bring this up. All right. So these were the notes that we had for Spec Kit in here. So for Spec Kit, we have some very basic things that we can do, right? Where we come in and after we do the Constitution, this is like a one-time thing in here. It kind of sets up everything that we need to for the project. But if we wanted to, we could just specify what the new feature we wanted to add to it was, plan out that change, bust that down into tasks, and then finally implement it. But we actually went through what I call hardcore mode down here. Whereas we go through and we fully have it do a lot of cross-validation and everything. So we specify it, we check to make sure it's clear, we clarify everything, and then after it plans it, we go through and make sure the checklists all are good. Same thing for the task, and then we analyze those. So the analysis actually does cross-artifact consistency. So this was the way that we went through and did this for the last one. So let me see if I can get through this again real quick tonight. Because what I want to do is we want to add a way for it to test generating a payload, getting it over to the test system, and then I don't want to do this. We need to generate the payload, get it over to the test system, execute it, ensure the callback comes back. So that's what we need to do right there. Oh, you know what the downside is though? We have not made the... damn it. We have not made the specific tools for the various payloads. So we can't even expand the integration test because we can talk to the Mythic server, right? But we don't have anything to allow the Mythic server to go interact with. Let me see here. I think in here. Was that in refs? I think it was. I guess it would help if I could type correctly. Yeah. Did we already get this down? Okay, cool. We already have this in here. Excellent. So let's start with... Ooh, which one do I want to work with? Maybe we'll start with Arachne. No, we'll start with Apollo in here. So, okay. Excellent. So refs this is a copy of the complete source code for what we're working with in here. Let me see. X out of that. Let's do that. So let's specify a new one. They're not post-X payloads, Gumby, in RoboPages. Those are... that would be part of what we'd call the initial access payload, right? Because it allows us to go through and get like single command execution on the system. So that was, what was that? Which web shell was that? Diceco. That was a Diceco web shell. That is not a C2 interaction. That is a traditional web shell, right? We send one command, we get one output. We send one command, we get one output. Boom. Arachne actually sets it up to where it's more like a little bit like a C2 connection. It works in the same way, but the data is kind of flowing back and forth. Yeah. So, let's see. Now the question is, do we go ahead and develop the plugin system? Oh, yeah, I think we need to do that. Let's see. Have we built the agent plugin system yet? I don't think we did build that yet. I think we've just been working on the general core functionality. I fully expect as we go through and we start working on the plugin system, then we're going to have to bring that back out and start adding new things to the core functions. So the core functions would be things that are always available inside the Mythic server. Wait, what is that? Yeah, run. Because I don't think we added any of the plugin system to it yet. So probably what I'll do is we'll have it go through and reference how... We'll have it reference those three agents so it can get kind of like a little bit of a cross understanding. And then the plugin system would be, like I said, maybe those .mcp.json files or something. Maybe call it MCP plugin. Oh wait, did we already do this? Agent plugin system is built and merged into master. It was delivered on this commit. Plugin infrastructure. Built-in plugins. We have Apollo and Arachne. Okay. So if those are already in there, we have plugins built in. Let me go look at that real quick. So I didn't think we had built the plugin system just yet. Oh, we did. It was in Spec 3. That was like one of the first things we did. Let's see. Where did we have that? We had that in plugins. Source, Mythic, plugins. Let me take a look at what we had Claude build for that. So we had Apollo Pi and Arachne Pi. Okay. Let's go look at the Apollo one here. Okay, so yeah, I think actually what we're going to need to do is we have to clean this up, because see how it went with what we wanted in by the letter, but not by the spirit, where this needs to be a way to basically handle like all of this information coming back from it. Yeah, because I don't want this to have to be like a defined class in here. Okay. So I think what we're going to have to do, I think we'll probably pick this up tomorrow night. And let's bust out of this. Add a to-do to remake the plugin system. That way I won't forget. There we go. We'll have it do that right there. All right, unfortunately, it is time to go ahead and chill out of here. So let's go find somebody we can raid out to. Anybody who's doing something fun. Actually, hold on. I'm breaking form. I'm following bad form right now, because what we want to do is go see if anybody's over on InfoSec streams. Sure enough, nobody's on here. But by the way, everyone, if you like cybersecurity stuff and just watching people, you want to learn more about that side of the house, maybe this isn't your daytime thing. I get it. It's not for a lot of people. And you want to learn more and check out other streamers, go look at InfoSec streams. This time of night, it's usually us that's online, but that's all right. Just the way it works out. Take that out right there. Hey, Nix and Marty, thank y'all both for coming online. Welcome in. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Saturday. Tomorrow's Sunday. Try to spend some time with your friends and family and get ready for crushing it mode on Monday. After working in IT, I don't want to do it anymore. That's the running gag, especially around cybersecurity, man, is you go to like an interview for a security role, blue team or red team, doesn't really matter. And they ask you that question, you know, the one they always ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And typically, if you've worked in IT long enough, particularly in security, in 5 years, it's like in a farm, off the grid, away from everybody, with my family and a pack of 3 dogs. That's typically the answer. And I feel that so much. Let's see here. What do we got on? Hectic is on. She's not doing any hacking right now. She's playing Arc Raiders. Oh, you know what? Sid is on, though. Sid is on doing some electronic soldering, so let's go right over to him. All right. Unfortunately, guys, that is where I've got to end it for tonight. Y'all take care. I will catch y'all tomorrow night. We'll start working on beefing up the plugin system, because the plugin system is far too complicated right now. We can do better. We have the technology. And that's all I got for y'all tonight, guys. Thank you so much for coming to hang out. I know it's a bit of a weird stream because we're just kind of tinkering around with all this other stuff, but I want you to know how much I appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming to hang out and heckling, and especially trying to break Guy's Zoidbot, because that was hilarious. Unfortunately, Zoidbot was a little bit too chatty, so we had to ban him, but that's all right. What else do I got for you? I think that's it. Everyone, I hope you'll have a fantastic Sunday tomorrow. Like I said, try to spend some time with your friends and family. Get ready for Crushing It Mode coming up on Monday. And I want you all to remember one very important thing. These are not words. This is not lip service. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And that is, I love you. Peace.